Hello everyone, welcome back to the AJ Speed Shop YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping back by. It has been an extremely long time since my last upload. I think I'm 6 months out from my last one, and it has not been for a lack of content. I've actually had some pretty good content I could have filmed and put into video, but for various reasons, I have failed to do that. I had a couple of good hot rod road trips. I had actually purchased another car that's going to end up on the channel, finished a motorcycle project, and I have had some good footage, and just never really got it all put together into video. Some of the footage I felt was not exciting enough to really make a video out of, so if I couldn't make a good video, I decided to not make it at all. So anyway, there's a whole laundry list of excuses as to why I've not been staying on top of getting videos uploaded. But moving forward, here we go with what we are going to do today. In about 2 weeks, we are going to leave for Cruising the Coast in the Grand National, which has been in storage for about 4 months. So I got it back out of storage, and now we're going to start prepping this car to get it ready to go on Cruising the Coast in 2 weeks. We've got to start out with a basic inspection, fluid checkup, and also got to check the air conditioning system. When I put it into storage, the AC was not working quite as good as it used to, and as I brought it out of storage, it seems like it's gotten a little worse. So maybe it's got a freon leak in it. We're going to kind of check that out today. So let's get started. Let me show you what's been going on though for the last 6 months. So starting with this one, this is a 1989 Mustang 5.0 SSP. It's an old Florida Highway Patrol car, and I went and bought it in November of last year out of Miami. And I actually filmed the road trip to go get it, and the footage really wasn't going to be that interesting, so I never ended up putting it into a video. But I actually purchased this car to use it as a daily driver slash backup daily, and the car had been fully restored back in about 2016 or so, and they did a pretty good job on it at the time. But the paint is starting to have some issues, so the car is actually going to be going to paint at the end of November this year. So for right now, I'm still driving it every day. I put about 11,000 miles on it, and it's been pretty reliable thus far. I had a few little issues that I had to resolve in the beginning. I changed a few things, put 355 gears in it to make it a little more pleasurable to drive. It had 273s in it, which was just terrible for driving in traffic. But all in all, it's a pretty good car. There's going to be more content on the channel with this one after we get it painted. It's all stock, just a good little cruiser and daily driver. And I think there's going to be some interest in it. There's a lot of Fox Body fans out there. I think it'll be a good blend into the channel with the Buick. Give you a quick wrench around on this one. Old SSP cop car. Okay, next up is my 01 1000 that I just finished about a 10-month long engine build. We finally got it completed. We are still working through some of the bugs and some of the tuning on it, but after a very, very lengthy project, we finally got it running again. Have not really filmed anything on this one either. We have done a few draggy runs on it just to see where it's at, and it is not where it needs to be yet. So I'm going to refrain from posting any of that stuff yet until we get it all dialed in and get it running the way it should. There's going to be some updates on this one in the channel too as time goes on. Right now, I'm kind of focusing on some of the car stuff, but I'm just glad to have this thing running again. It was almost a 10-month long project. It was pretty brutal. Also, at the same time, the turbo bike had been sitting and hadn't started it in about 6 months, and the fuel pump went out in it, and the batteries went bad in it. So I finally got it all up and running again, and I haven't even ridden it since I got it up and running. But there's going to be some updates on this thing as well. Just glad to have it back up and running again. I don't like having any of my stuff broken to where I can't hop on it and ride it or drive it at any time. So this one is back up and running. This is my 2000 Turbo Hayabusa. I've owned this thing for almost 25 years. I bought it new in February of 2000. So it's the oldest one in the fleet over here. And now moving on to the topic of the day, the 87 Grand National. Going to start prepping this thing for the road trip to Cruising the Coast. Back before I put it in storage in May, we did complete the hot rod tour of Texas successfully. We made it through all 7 stops, and we had no issues with the car. It ran great the whole time. I came home, I cleaned it up, and it went into storage. So it should be in pretty good shape for taking another road trip. But I am going to start checking everything out on it today. And we really got to check the AC out. That's really the only thing that I need to work on that I know of is the air conditioning. So I got about a week or so to get it ready. Hopefully I can kind of determine if there's an issue with the AC or not today. So here we go. Let's get started on this thing. Definitely looks like the Freon's a little low. Compressor's cycling off. Got the old school R12 about to go in, hopefully. System's definitely a little low. Pretty cool, but it's not that hot here today. It's only about 86 degrees, and it warms up a lot once we're out on the road at higher speed. So definitely need just a touch of Freon, or at least I think so anyway. See if I can get this stuff in. All right, I'm going to attempt to put another small amount of a can in. I didn't get much out of that first can. It was about half empty, I think. Pressure's still a little low on the low side. I'd like to have it about 30, 35. It's about 25. Try to shoot a little more in there. Cooled off a couple of degrees. Doesn't seem like it's wanting to take the Freon. I don't know. I have a feeling the system's got some pluggage in it. I don't know. I'm going to try to see if I can squeeze a little bit more in, but it doesn't seem like it's taking the liquid. It's only getting the gas. So I'm going to try to purge this line one more time, get some more liquid out, and then enter it into the system and see if it will help. it. Compressor's not cycling as much. Got about a full can and a quarter of R12 in it. So the low side pressure is still not really where I want it. It's about 28 pounds when it's revved up. However, the high side pressure is already approaching 300. So that's getting a little high. So I don't want to put any more Freon in it. Obviously, there is some contaminants in the system. I redid this system about 4 years ago, and I had the original hoses on it, still do. And I'm pretty sure the hoses are coming apart and contaminating the system. So it really needs a full revamp of the whole system. I'm probably gonna do it during the springtime before Hot Rod Power Tour in June. But this ought to help us at least get us through this road trip in the next couple of weeks. This isn't bad. We'll see what it does when we get on the freeway. Typically this thing tends to warm up quite a bit on the freeway on the AC vent temps, but looks like this can of Freon, it may have helped. We'll try it and see. I'll report back. Looks like we got a few degrees off of it. Probably about as good as it's gonna get for this old system. Okay guys, I've got it shut down. I really apologize for the terrible audio during this film. I'm trying to do this in my garage so I can kind of maintain the heat. It's not real hot out here right now. It's only about 86, 87 degrees outside. So I was trying to heat the car up as much as I could in the garage with no airflow. So, but anyway, to recap, so this system still uses R12. It still has the original condenser on it. It does have a new AC compressor I put on about 3 or 4 years ago, and a new accumulator I put on about 3 or 4 years ago. But I've had some issues about every year or two. The vent temps start to fall off, and I'll vacuum the system down, pull the orifice tube out, and it'll have a bunch of stuff in it. So there's definitely contamination in the system. And I am planning to redo the entire system probably in the springtime. But for right now, I just wanted to try to get it a little cooler. So whenever we go to Cruising the Coast next week, when we're in the car we're going to drive straight through. It's about roughly 500 miles one way just to get there. And we're going to hot shot it right there all in one trip. So wanted to make sure we have good AC. Plus there's a lot of idling and traffic out there at Cruising the Coast. I mean, last year when we went, we idled in one spot for almost 3 hours, and we went 1.5 miles in 3 hours. So got to have AC whenever it's backed up in traffic like that, and it's 90 something degrees outside. So anyway, looks like we got pretty good sweat on the line. The vent temps seem to have cooled down about 3 or 4 degrees as best I can tell. The low side pressure came up to about 20, 28, 29, still a little low. But I don't want to take a chance on blowing the high side out because there's a hodgepodge of oil and contamination in the system, I believe, and that'll drive that high side pressure up. And I don't want this thing to blow a rupture disc on the compressor while we're on a road trip. So this will keep us alive. It'll get us going and keep us somewhat cool until the springtime. And then I'll go through and redo everything. I'm going to put a high efficiency condenser in it. And I will also be converting it to 134 then. So I've had it on R12 for the last few years, mainly just to try to keep it as cold as I can with this big air-to-air intercooler blocking the condenser. But it's such a pain. You can't get good equipment to do R12 work. I'm using some old hokey gauges and can tap, and everything leaks. So I'm ready to be done with the R12 stuff. And hopefully we can make it blow cold on 134. But anyway, that's going to be it for this portion of the video. Next thing is going to be continuing to check out all the fluids, go over everything, check the suspension, check kind of nut and bolt check everything. I'll probably be doing that tomorrow, and kind of get ready to go for this next week. I don't know if I'm really going to film any of that. There's not much interesting in nut bolting a chassis or doing an oil change and whatnot. So probably going to go ahead and call this one a wrap. We're going to start loading the car up, and I will be filming everything for cruising the coast. So you guys will come along with us for the ride on the road trip. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm hoping to be a little more consistent with uploads in the future. For any of my fans that are still hanging around, I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.